Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast, episode 498. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Okay.
Starting off with a little bit of
a little droid for me. Corey Feinside.
Heyo.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Yo.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to 498 of the Moviecast. Which, yeah. So, guys, we're getting there. Woo. We're getting there. And we're still in quarantine. We're still in quarantine. So, it's been, how was your Memorial Day? Huh?
Depends on who you ask.
Oh, if you're in quarantine or not?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So, I guess you're right. You have to work. Some people have to work. You're right. Well, I'm working.
No. I actually, me and Ashley and my mom went to see what our beach house was like, and the people there, it's normal. Over there, they're acting like nothing's going on. So, there's always that.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I was talking to a client, and they were saying how they asked, "Oh, what'd you do on Memorial Day?" Like, well, pretty much everything I do every day.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What are you talking about? You didn't go to parties and like barbecues?" I was like, "What parties? What barbecues?"
Yeah.
And
no, it's
you should have gone to the lake. It was hopping. I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
No, thank you.
Yeah, we'll see results of this after about 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks we'll see results. So, yeah, we'll see if it was successful or not. I did have a little barbecue. I have a lot of people in my house anyways here, so that, and then I did actually have my parents over. It's all outdoor based, social distanced. So we had a couple people, but not many, and so I had a nice little cookout. Cooked some good burgers actually, like they were like really good from this meat market in Washington, over by Easton, Tony, over there, right outside of Phillipsburg. So really good place. But I was really impressed with those burgers. That's why I'm mentioning them on the podcast. I was like, wow, that's good. So pretty impressed with them.
Maybe just because you haven't had a burger in so long. Like...
No, I mean I've been buying like the I've been having like I'm a burger guy. I like my burgers. So I've had 30 burgers, which is okay. I actually bought like some actual store-bought burgers, like some different mixes. The Wahlburgers, the I think it's like Schneider and Sons ones. Those are pretty good. Schweiders and Son, yeah. So
Schweid, we used to use them. Now we don't.
Yeah. It was pretty good meat, depending on the blend you get. But this was like completely better than those. I was like, wow.
We've got lamb harissa and bison burgers now.
I saw you had a bison burger, yeah.
Nice.
Try those out.
I also saw that crazy burger you guys created for somebody.
Yeah, those were actually beyond patties.
Really?
They want all the other stuff too, though. Yep.
They made like for the look like I'm giving up. If you're watching the video here, it was like the size of somebody's head, essentially, of a burger. So it was crazy. Anyways, so this is a movie cast. Let's get into what we've been up to, guys. We have a topic tonight of our franchise deep dive. We're going to talk about The Matrix and the future of that property and the past, obviously. We can't talk about the future without talking about the past, of course. So getting into what we've been up to, guys, I will be happy to kick us off. I've been watching a bunch of stuff. The Expanse. I'm on season 2 now of The Expanse. Finished all season 1. Love that. That is an excellent show. Excellent show. Great. I love the finale. Like it was what crazy about this show was like it's not like it didn't feel like a finale. It just felt like a great build up. I'm very happy that I have season 2 to watch like right now because it was like I liked the story they told. I liked the finish. Don't get me wrong. It was a season finale for it, but it was like it started like 3 episodes prior. So it wasn't like, oh shit, everything's gonna hit the fan here. It was like, no, this is a nice. Everything hit the fan over 3 episodes. So I was very, very much like that. It was like really, really good watch. Looks amazing on my TV. I didn't know they did 4K HDR with that show, but it was impressive to watch.
All the stops.
Yeah, they did a good job with that. Also, let's see. I've watched 2 episodes of Tony, High School Girl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, let's get into that. High score. It's High Score Girl.
Not high school.
Yeah, not high school.
Popo on you.
Yeah. No, very, very entertaining for the nostalgia factors of things. the TurboGrafx 16 episode just happened.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was hilarious. So, but yeah, the Street Fighter aspects. They're talking about Final Fantasy IV, I think, in this. It was like, yeah, it's really great watch for those that watched it as a, as a gamer, growing up in those times. Like if you grew up with the Super Nintendo, like it's a great show to watch. Yeah. Mike, I think you would actually enjoy this anime. But the other show that I've been watching is Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus.
Oh, I heard that. That's like the MMO development thing.
So I think what happened was I started watching High Score Girl, and it got me into the video game nostalgia kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what happened, but it came off my feed to watch this. Like it was suggestions, and I was like, okay. So I was like, I'll check the first episode out, and it's basically Mac. It's the actor Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Rob McKennelly. I can't even say his last name, but it's Mac from It's Always Sunny. Just picture Mac, literally the exact same character, but actually somewhat competent in game creation, running his own company essentially, running his own game. But it's the same characteristics, like very egotistical, like very, you know what I mean, like same character embodiment. So I love that aspect of things. It's got the guy from Danny, is it Pudai, the Indian actor from it, the Joe McHale shit.
Community.
Thank you. Community. God, I was.
Were you watching that?
Yeah. I tried to. I'm on episode 5 now. I'm working on it. I have to watch it, and every time I see Joe McHale, I'm like, I can't do it. But I'm gonna keep pushing through.
Every episode.
What? Pretty much every episode, because he's so annoying.
I can never watch the show because of him, which is a stark contrast because I really want to watch it for what's her name? The
Alison Brie.
Yeah, Alison Brie.
Yeah.
Oh. But it's canceled out.
Yeah.
Like more than canceled out. It's like, nah, dude, you're not worth it.
I'm trying, but I'm gonna be watching the rest of this though. This show.
Does he know he's like people dislike him?
I think it's just you guys, honestly. Like I haven't heard anything from anyone else. I know we labeled one of our podcasts as I'm completely neutral on the guy. I couldn't care about him one way or the other, and I haven't really heard too much else. But
one of my friends on Facebook responded back saying you're supposed to hate him a little. It's the way it's the way he is, and I'm like, no, I hate him a lot. So it's his attitude, but I don't know. I'm actually really enjoying Mythic Quest. I'm not gonna fully recommend it for people yet because I have to get a couple more episodes into. It's a little bit. Some of it's a little bit, goofy humor, but it's basically about they create the world's #1 MMO game, and you get to watch their game creation ideas and how they tweak it with patches, and very nerdy stuff. But I have a lot of comedy mixed into it, and there's a game streamer called Pooty Shu, I think his name is, and it's a little 14-year-old gamer who has his opinions, and the world watches to see if they should buy the game or not. So they're trying to impress him. But there's a good cast of characters though. It seems pretty it's pretty entertaining so far. So that's pretty much it for me. I'm trying to think of anything on Disney Plus. I don't think I watched nothing yet. Queued up the Mandalorian stuff. I didn't watch anything else yet. So that's it. So Corey, what have you been watching?
Just Harley Quinn is really the only thing new. Just keeping up on that. Really great show. So
yeah. That's
pretty much it.
I heard that was on Sci-Fi now.
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I heard. There's really.
I know that the DC Universe stuff is going all over the place because Stargirl is a DC Universe show and that's on CW.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all that stuff is going to go to HBO at some point.
All right, Mike, what have you been?
I've been watching a little bit of nothing mostly.
Really?
I mean, I just watched maybe one more episode of Young Justice. I'm 9 or so episodes into that. Something's finally starting to happen, at least at this point. Getting more of a sense of where they're going with everything. But again, I'm still lost about what has happened in this universe and what hasn't still. I don't know if this is their first encounter with Apocalypse and Darkseid or not. I can't quite tell.
Yeah, but I don't think they've met them.
Yeah, it's so. But and then just weird stuff here and there, like the Dick Van Dyke Show and and half of Yumi and Dupree, stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I watched a terrible John Cena movie, so I didn't even mention it on here. So it was god awful. Like it's a wannabe pacifier movie, but it's not.
Oh, I heard. I saw that. Like the trailer.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Or something like that.
It was really bad. So I was bored like 30 minutes in. I'm like, please, will this end? Please. Tony, what have you been watching?
Just continuing my rewatch of Avatar. I'm
nice.
halfway through season 2 or something like that, and
it's nice that it's coming back and people are like getting to watch it.
Yeah, I love it. Like it's back in the pop culture mind, like social media, Twitter, a lot of new fan art and stuff coming out, and I forget that the series came out relatively long ago now at this point. That well,
we just talked about in our top shows of the 2000s.
2000s, yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, it's 2020 now, so it's like a whole new generation it's about to experience and stuff like that. And I know Netflix is working on the live action adaptation, but done in a series. So I'm excited to see that, and fingers crossed, because I think we talked about this before, and maybe this is a topic we can do, but now that we've had the cartoon, I don't want like a 1-to-1 adaptation anymore of like things. I just give me something new, twist it up a little bit, vary it up. Just show me some more new stuff. That's where I sit.
Yeah, I mean,
which we'll get to later on tonight in our podcast, I'm sure.
I think they could do a nice, like a series adaptation for live action, like in one of these streaming services, be that whatever, and I feel like we could see it in a new way. It would be also entertaining as long as it's done properly. Not what we got, obviously, but done properly, I think it could be really entertaining.
This is exactly what I said when I don't remember why we were talking about, like Harry Potter. Like the movies, most of them did a disservice to all the books, especially the later half when the books were just so long.
Yeah.
That you can't accurately cover hundreds of pages into like a 2-hour movie. You just can't do it faithfully. So, give me a mini series, do it 10 episodes, 45, 50 hour long episodes, cover a whole school year, and it's great, because the thing is too, is like, you can't tell me that the budget would be that much higher than a movie, because I mean, most of the time it's them dicking around the castle or something like that, the special effects, sure, like some magic-y hocus pocus shit, but like 90% of the time they're just gonna be talking to each other.
I mean, it doesn't really matter with this anymore because as we'll get to in some news, a lot of these budgets for these shows are bigger than movies now.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like they're
right. I mean, and also sometimes when you are on a lower budget, you're forced to be more innovative with what you're doing, and it can also turn out.
I really think
better.
like Amazon or Showtime or HBO, one of those companies could pick this up and really make a good. I think HBO could make a good series for HBO Max with this, especially with their partnership with with Warner. Are they owned by Warner? I don't know exactly.
Something like
that.
But
it's something like that. I feel like that's the perfect spot to do this.
I think we're going to see this in the next 5 years, absolutely, because I don't know if you guys remember, but maybe a year or two ago we saw some leaked footage of a Harry Potter next gen game that looked like action adventure RPG and stuff like that.
Yep.
What better way to get that back in people's mind and talking hubbub than announcing series? Because at that point, I mean, when did the last Harry Potter book and/or movie come out? Like 2012? I'm guessing. I'm just taking a wild guess in the dark here.
I'm going with let's see. They did a 2-parter. That was the problem.
Yeah. Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Deathly Hallows Part 2. Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. Hallows Part 1 was in 2010, so then Part 2 had to be in 2011, right?
Pretty close.
2011, yep. 2011.
So announce it next year, 10 years after the last movie comes out. Brand new HBO series.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. And
that would sell that service to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that service is going to do very well if they actually do acquire the DC Universe items with their own stuff. I think that catalog becomes very strong for different audiences. So I think for me, I would be interested. I mean, Corey, I would guess you'd be a little interested with this because you watched Harley Quinn, and then you also have like Westworld. You have all the other stuff that's on HBO side of things, where it's like, okay, this is good value now at this point. So you can check it out. But anyways, let's get into some news. Then we'll get into our topic. What do we got here? Sorry, clear my throat. Allergies are not good today. I've been like really bad. Speaking of HBO Max, we have confirmation now that the Snyder Cut does exist, and we are getting a re-release of it.
Hold on. It does not exist
now. It's going to exist.
Yes.
It does not exist. It just was greenlit.
Yeah, it just was greenlit, which means so. For all the statements he's made where it's done, it's basically finished, they have to release it.
Bullshit.
HBO has then also come out saying now that the cut will cost way more than $30 million that was reported. They're putting out more money of their own money to put into this. There was talk about that he wanted to do reshoots.
He's crazy.
Snyder wanted to do reshoots. Yeah,
he's absolutely crazy.
At that point, that's where the studio drew the line. They said, no, we will give you money to edit the movie, and that is it. There will be no research.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I saw about a half hour of BVS too.
Yep.
I don't like it as much as even before.
It does not age well, huh?
Well, I mean, I didn't. I think I saw the theatrical cut, so you just get that whole sense, like Justice League, that it got cut to shit, and you have no idea it's hard to follow because
it's like just moments here. Like there are moments that are cool and stuff, but there's no.
Yeah, no. But I'll still defend the Martha scene. I don't mind that at all. Everything, but God, once Eisenberg gets on the screen, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He puts the Jolly Rancher in the dude's mouth. That was just. I still remember that scene, and that's not a good reason to remember a scene.
Yeah. Tying into this, HBO Max content chief Kevin Reilly came on record saying that the DC Originals, Green Lantern, and I can't remember what else they're working on right now at the same time.
Did you see how now there's an initiative for the director's cut for Suicide Squad?
Yes, I'm going to bring that up here. This is on the news here. I had to put it on here. But this is saying like they're going to have a budget of a movie, essentially. That each of these are going to have cinematic quality production values that were said.
Again, because nothing real can be made now, so.
No, I mean, I get it, and I think that's an excellent observation, Mike. I totally agree with you, because it's like they can't get the actors in to do the reshoots, so, throw some money, let, visual effects editing, all that stuff. I guarantee you, if this were not for COVID, none of this would be happening, because they'd be, making their other content, normal.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, it's a good opportunity. It's just funny to me, because it's like, man, we're just going to spend money to, like, polish... I'm sorry, shit. Essentially, that's what we're doing. Like, polish that shit. Polish it until it looks a little shiny.
I don't think it's gonna be any better. I just think it's gonna be different because I'm gonna get more of a BVS type deal, which is, it might be again, like I said before, more coherent as a whole if it's all in there. But it's not gonna be. It's gonna be like, oh man, the part I saw included the whole flashback scene. And all the pictures of Batman.
Like the thing is, these movies are out already, right? They're out, and most of the stuff we've already seen. So like, how are you gonna rearrange stuff to make it any better?
It does seem pretty extensive though, because if you think about what you remember from, let's say, Batman from Justice League, he's jokey most of the time, and you got to imagine none of that is what is in Snyder's cut. So
we know that there were Superman reshoots, but we don't know about Batman reshoots.
Oh, you got to be kidding me! You think that he's seeing Superman and going like, yes, in fucking Snyder's version where he's like, the Punisher.
I'm marking this episode, so.
We'll come back to it next year.
We'll come back to it. Let's circle back to this.
I think it'll be quite different. There's also rumors that they're trying to shoehorn Martian Manhunter in there too, which he would be entirely CG, so it's possible, I guess.
Oh, I heard Darkseid, the actor that played him in the original cut, said he's in the movie. So
just imagine if like the character is just on screen, had his own dialogue, never talked to specifically a character, never had a conversation, just like chimed in like, "Let's go, save the day."
I mean, we're gonna get some Star Wars reshoot feelings here when like Han talks to Jabba in the special edition.
Yeah.
Or even unfortunately Leia's dialogue in The Rise of Skywalker, where you can kind of tell she's not actually talking in that context. But
yeah,
I feel like it's going to feel a lot like that in a few of these scenes.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, so we'll see. What else did I say? I was going to mention, again, we mentioned the Suicide Squad director wants to release his own cut, which would change the movie, he says, drastically. David Ayers.
I mean, that did well, though. Like, who cares?
Yeah, but he has more he wants to show, and he thinks HBO Max would be a great spot for it now. So
he wants more money.
He does.
Yeah.
So... Lastly, in the news, sad news is the new Star Wars stories we were expecting to get. The High Republic will not be coming out this year, delayed until at least January 5th, 2021, due to the COVID breakout. Yeah. So I just thought that they would still come out because they were books, and I thought that we would still get written stuff. Like, I feel like George Martin better be doing something, right?
Don't even bring him up, dude. Like, literally, he has no excuse. I'm sorry, he doesn't have an excuse.
There's nothing.
Conventions are canceled.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be having football games with, like, fans in stadiums anymore. It's all going to be broadcast shit. Like, he has no fucking excuse. There's absolutely nothing taking him outside of his house to write that fucking book. And the thing is, I don't even care anymore. I really don't. Like, that's how terrible the ending to Game of Thrones was. I just have such little interest in this show. It's just put up or shut up. That's what it. Like, put up or shut up. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about Game of Thrones at all until it's on the shelf. Like, whatever.
It's amazing because just the other day I was on Reset Era and they had a thread that was like, it's been a year since the finale, and I was like,
oh
wow, like a whole year. Damn. I was like, it feels like ages ago because I haven't thought about it since then. It feels like way.
It's just it's so funny to see like him and Patrick Rothfuss or whatever, the name of the Wind guy. Like, those two guys have spent like how many years not writing their books, and meanwhile, like, you get some other fantasy writers just like pumping out books like crazy.
Oh, I know. It's like Sanderson doesn't seem to ever get writer's block. He doesn't, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, he seems like a fountain of ideas and stories, and he just
like admit what it is right now. Just admit to the world that you have writer's block, George Martin, and you can't figure out what you're doing with the story. That's it. That would give everybody like, okay, I understand his plight now.
You know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but just real quick, and maybe this could be another topic for another day, but like, I honestly feel like in my heart of hearts that the reception to the ending was so bad that it completely threw out whatever he had, and he's like, I gotta fix this.
Yep.
Like, I gotta fix this. That's what I feel like. I feel like it made the situation worse.
Like, maybe he was gonna go close to what the show was gonna do. Then he saw that, he's like, well, shit. Now I'm gonna have to just rewrite everything.
I'm trying to see what's the next book supposed to be for him? Is the spring one?
No.
Winds of
Winter. I mean, okay, I scrolled back on his blog right now. I'm at April 19th, and there has been zero talk about Winds of Winter at all on his blog. As we're talking about this, let me just scroll through, and he's got nothing. He's got
of course.
Nothing. Ugh.
And so does his fans.
Now I've made myself angry for this fucking podcast.
When was the last book released? That was before the first season of the TV show, right?
2012, I want to say. 2012?
So the book came out. There's another book that came out during the season.
Oh, was there? Okay.
Dance with Dragons came out, right? Dance with Dragons was the last one. That came out in 2012, didn't it?
I don't remember. We got to look it up.
It came up. 2011 was the last time he released the book.
When was the show started?
That was right at the beginning of that show, I thought. So, yeah.
So the whole fucking TV series went on, and he still hasn't finished the next book.
The worst part about this, I mean, I don't want to get too far into this because we have a topic tonight, but I will say that the worst part about this book was it's
deep dive Game of Thrones, guys.
It's just another perspective of the previous book. Is all it is. There's very little new content.
Well, no, I mean, even the worst part is like he said during like the Crows book, Feast for Crows, whatever. He's like, it's not going to take me as long as it did.
Yeah.
And it's been
longer. Yeah.
So that was a fucking lie meme insert right there.
Yep. Well, he got really busy with shows, and now he's got no excuse, and he's got nothing to do. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, guys, let's get into our topic tonight, which is The Matrix. There's a lot to do there. I think there is. So here's the thing. Like, I get doing a reboot for this franchise. Like, I think it's great. A great idea. I'm on board with a reboot. I am. But are we on board with a continuation of the story? Because it sounds like this is a continuation of what we're going to get. But let's go back to the beginning before we get to that question. Back to the beginning. We all love The Matrix, right? The first one.
The only one.
Well, that's it.
In my eyes, that's the only one.
So does this need to be a franchise, or is this better served as a one-off?
No, that's fine.
Everything is going to be a franchise from now on forever.
Well, yeah. But the thing is, like, I love the first Matrix so much that I think it deserves another chance at redemption, or whatever you want to call it.
Tell the story better, maybe.
Right, but second of all, I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, Matrix. What was it? Reloaded or?
Yeah.
It was Reloaded and then
Revolution.
Revolution. What was Revolution? That was like the 2000s, right?
2003 or something.
That was 2003, Mike. You got it. Ding, ding, ding.
Exactly. I mean, it's been 17 years, so like that's fine. You know, enough time has passed. It's not like, you know, fucking we're jumping from Amazing Spider-Man into, you know, Far From Home or something like that. Where it's like, oh, 2 years, new Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's been 17 years. Enough time has settled. Hopefully the you know, writers and directors, they have come up with new ways to make the storyline interesting. Because the thing is, they did a fantastic job of like setting up a world. You know.
Oh sure. I thought it was a great idea with the world. Like I didn't see at that point in time how a sequel could fail. I didn't see, like, I was like, no, because you're how good the first one was.
I know.
Like,
I agree with you.
I was like so psyched for that second movie, and I'm just like, how could it be bad?
The second movie could have worked if everything was concluded better in the third. Like if it was just a go-between with sort of like action and not much substance, which is kind of what it was.
Gotcha. Yeah.
If the third movie like concluded things in a better way, then the second movie would have been, you know, okay, I thought. But the third movie is called The Matrix, hardly takes place in the Matrix, and it was just so not satisfying that it just.
I honestly have blocked out.
Two movies.
I honestly blocked out or can't remember most of that third movie except for like him fighting like a million Agent Smiths because he, I don't know, was the god or.
I remember him being carted out in the machine when he was dead.
Well, I don't think he actually fights a million Agent Smiths.
No, that was the second one.
Oh, that was the second one? What are you doing in the third one? Does he fight?
Well, when he fights the Agent Smith Prime or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they're all just standing in the
right.
Maybe there was a million Agent
Smiths.
Because
the Agent Smith becomes a virus that's going to basically take over the Matrix and cause some trouble. So then the computer join forces and all that stuff.
But, you know, here's the thing: is like at this point, like, don't get me wrong, I love Keanu Reeves, I really do. But if they're gonna reboot it, just fucking reboot it. Like, I don't want this like half-assed like, oh, it's a requel or something like that, where it's a remake, like, sequel or prequel.
I'd be down for it, but I would be down for it with heavy retconning to the point where we might make the second two movies completely like, you know,
that's fine.
Matrix and a Matrix not happening bullshit or something.
Matrixception.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that because I like the idea of bringing Keanu back. Unfortunately, the ways of doing that, it's gonna feel a little bit like Luke Skywalker and, you know, the new Star Wars. I feel like.
Then I'll like it, I guess.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be that way, Mike. I mean, we're talking about.
Fine. He'll be like Superman in Justice League, where the objective is getting him and his mind right, and then he's the win button.
Yeah. So.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, you know, we have. I just like I don't know what they're gonna do with this because they're talking about Carrie-Anne Moss coming back and Keanu Reeves for this.
You got to erase that third movie in some shape or form. You got to erase it.
Is that what we think we're gonna get from that? Like, I still feel to this day if we got a cut of the second movie and the third movie merged, that there could be something there with one movie.
What does that mean?
Like, you cut parts of the second movie because you
didn't
with
the sequels and stuff, they just got so far up their own ass. Like, they didn't know what they were doing. Like, they just didn't understand how to like they were trying to make it so confusing for people.
Here's the best comparison I can make. The second and third Matrix movies were like how Evangelion got towards the second half of the series.
Yeah,
where it started out as like just giant robot stuff, and then the second half is just like this, I don't know, pseudo, you know, biblical, like religious pseudoscience bullshit. We're just like, what the fuck is going on?
It's actually very similar to Mass Effect. When its conclusion, and it's even the same problem. When in this sci-fi world, when you get to the end, when everything has to be about everything, and so you're the fate of humanity, synthetic versus organic organisms. Like, it doesn't really have to be about that, but because they got to those stakes at the end, where this one person decides, like, you know, whether I mean, it's just too much, and then, you know, he's Jesus. And I feel like
a lot of the problems with the two other movies is we didn't have the characters that we had in that first movie.
Yeah,
like,
and
there was some really great characters.
That's really what I wanted to say real quick. Is just that was what ultimately really disappointed me in the second and third ones, was that, like, Neo, like, ultimately, like, here's the thing. He's the main character. He's got to be, the most important. But, like, it felt like in the second, third movies, nobody else really mattered, with the exception of maybe Morpheus and maybe, to a degree, Trinity. But that's because it was Neo's girlfriend. Like, everybody else just fucked off. And I'm just like, how can you do that? Like, I get it. Again, he's the main character. He's got to be special. He's got to be a bit more powerful or whatever. But, like, I'm going to draw the analogy. Like, what I'm watching right now, Avatar. Like, yeah, Aang is, one of the most powerful people on the planet, in this history, but like he's not the most powerful, unless he taps into the Avatar state, which is OP bullshit. But people with just one bending power can take him out and stuff like that. It's not like he's ever like just completely, God mode beats everybody up without a fight and stuff like that. So it's just, and the other characters never like sideline where it's just like, yay, go dude, like
I never got that. Like if you go back to the first movie, like Cypher was like a great character. Like there was some great characters.
All those characters.
Well, the other thing was obviously the first movie was more grounded, and there was also that air of mystery about everything more. So you didn't know what was behind the curtain yourself. You sort of went with Neo as he got stronger and understood more. By the second movie, Superman.
That's the thing. But by the second movie, we ran into Goku. That's what we did.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it was just kind of like people dealing with him. And by the third movie, Morpheus is sidelined. He's just there and babbling. Everyone's like not even taking him seriously. It's just like, shut up, Morpheus. We're sick of your stories.
Shut up, old man.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer. That's what they say in the 2020 version. Okay, boomer.
Okay, boomer. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like
bunch of Karens.
This was the guy who like taught our guy like how to be who he is, and now he's just tossed aside like a crazy person.
Yeah, exactly. Because Morpheus is like the mentor. He was the Yoda, the Obi-Wan, and stuff. It's like you don't matter anymore. It's like cool. They didn't kill him off. They just
No, I felt like the impact
of the
three
guy. Yeah. He was the only one that it would have made more sense, but he was there just to look despondent in the end, or not even despondent, whatever he was looking when he realized like everyone was dead, but he did it.
So there's no talk about bringing Lawrence Fishburne back for this, but there is talk about.
He's not aged well. Like I don't mean to like put somebody down or anything like that. Like
he's okay. I mean, he was in
All right.
What was he just in? We just
saw
Wick. John Wick. He was in John Wick. I think he was fine in John Wick.
You want him to be like kung fu martial art master?
No. I think what Mike said. I think this next movie takes the form of them being the elders, and we have a new cast kind of thing, continuing the Matrix. Now, whether Keanu Reeves comes back as Neo and he's like the chosen one again, it could be fixed like that. They could do something cool with that story about bringing him back, because he was like the embodiment of Jesus, wasn't he not? I mean, like that was the idea of his character.
Right.
So like they could do something with that and be cool. I don't know.
It's Matrix 2.0, baby. It's gonna have a whole new Matrix.
As much as I like
he's
Keanu
not strong
Reeves,
anymore.
But as much as I like Keanu Reeves, and I think he's fantastic right now, he's like a hot name actor. He's doing great. I still feel like this should just be a complete reboot. Let's just start over. Let's just flush it, and let's just go from the beginning again.
I would rather, because then I don't.
There's no reference to the old movies whatsoever.
Because then it's in competition.
I mean, you give it like a Easter eggs. Easter eggs are fine.
To me, it's in competition with the first movie. If it's a full reboot, then is it going to be better than the first Matrix? Probably not.
I think it could be.
I don't think it could be, because it's a reused idea at that point.
Yeah, it's the problem with the Matrix at the time was so innovative with what it was doing as far as bullet time being the first thing like you've seen that ever, like using wire fu in an American movie, like it's like those things are just not. You're not going to have that again.
The thing is, like the whole, as much as I don't like the second and third ones, one of the things they touch upon that this is a cycle that just continues over and over again.
Right.
Like if you already laid the foundation for that in the universe, just use it.
Yeah, I mean, you could absolutely do that, and then you could find a way to like bring back the previous one somehow.
The last two movies are just an alternate
20 years
version.
later or something. Yeah, that's something.
Like what was it, 7 times before it happened?
Something like that.
Now we're on 8. So.
Would we rather this? Is this going to be backwards here?
What the hell is going on here?
Okay, here's a chart. This might be reverse, and I apologize. Here's your first side, and this is reverse if it is. If this is on video, if you're watching this on video, watch this on YouTube. By the way, here's your first set of movies. Okay, here's the Matrix. Here's your first one, second and third. See the line? See where they're at? That's about where we're at in the expectations, correct?
Yeah.
Would you like that, where that's the first movie, and then this is your second and third?
Yeah, I'll take that.
That's what I'm saying. Like this could be good.
That hardly ever happens.
Like none of it makes the level of the first movie, but they're all pretty
better
damn
on
good.
average. Right,
Yeah.
the average will be better overall.
You get a bunch of 7s,
that's
or
fine
you
with
get
me.
a 9 and a bunch of 3s.
The thing is, whoever mentioned Dragon Ball Z, like that's exactly how I felt in that last fight.
It's like Goku, yeah.
That's exactly how I felt in the last fight. That is like, no other characters matter besides Neo and like Smith. I don't even want to call him Agent Smith because at this point he's like beyond that. But it's like nobody else fucking mattered, and like that's fine if you're going to conclude the series. But like, let's just say Matrix 4, and it's a sequel to that, and like there's still like, what enemy is going to challenge Neo and have it be believable?
No, that's the problem. There wasn't one.
Right.
That was the problem we had.
No, I mean,
we had Goku, and he had to be like incapacitated out of the fights because he's just too strong.
This time you have to actually defeat the machines, not make peace with them.
Is that how it ended? I literally don't even remember.
They made
he had a ceasefire.
They made peace because he eliminated the
virus of Smith.
The virus of Smith, so the Matrix continued.
Not sure they were ever going to hold
But they allowed what was the name of Zion? They allowed Zion to exist. They weren't going to attack the people who were out, but they would continue using people as inefficient batteries in the Matrix if they wanted to.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, that's how it ended. It was the synergy ending with which color was that? Green.
It was green. I think it was green.
Yeah. Appropriate for the Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just talking about the Matrix, though, like that first movie was just so amazing, and like we were saying before, it had so many new approaches to filmmaking.
Like the slow-mo bullet time falling over thing. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Maybe that's part of why I do find the ending so disappointing. Is like in the end of the first movie, you're playing Rage Against the Machine. He's flying off. You're like, all right, let's fight him. In the end, you're just like, all right, we made up. Like,
yeah.
Like it just didn't feel believable, you know?
Well,
yeah. I just, the ending wasn't great.
Well, again, like a lot of times with this stuff is like they set these expectations for what again, this is a perfect, like just its own thing. It didn't need anything else. It ended with a fantastic ending, and it just like you could leave it up to the imagination to what you wanted it to be to go on after. Exactly. And it's not going to be that because you can't live up to people's imaginations, so
the mystery was ruined.
Right. At that point,
other than the vague, sort of confusing Colonel Sanders monologues, but yeah,
they literally did make him look so much like Colonel Sanders. I couldn't take it seriously. I was just like,
but again, like
what's
it just
12
got so far up,
Colonel?
Like it just so far up into their own psychology or like just being confusing
theology or something.
Yeah, exactly. And just like give them excuses to replay the greatest hits of the first one. You know.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, it's just a shame because the whole concept of like, a virtual reality, essentially, I don't want to say like VR like a VR, but like a virtual reality where it's like people are plugged into, a simulation world, like that was, again, groundbreaking at the time. And then since then we've had so many like, shows, cartoon, whatever, like,
variations
Sword Art
on
Online,
that idea,
right, and stuff like that. And all those have, managed to come up with original content. So I fully believe that they could still continue to flesh out that concept. Because, just like, again, going back to the first one, you had the people like, Morpheus and Trinity and, Neo, like the field operatives or whatever. You had the people that did the code and, Reddit, the navigators or whatever they called them. Stuff like that. Like, operators, exactly. That was such a cool thing because, like, there was that awesome synergy where it's like, yeah, you're a field agent, but, I'm an operator, so, like, we got to depend on each other. Whereas, like, that just completely went out the window in the second, third movie. Just like, okay, cool, like, let's, like, action piece. It was
cool. Like, they were, like, they went from these, like, crazy, like, homeless people, essentially, like, to, like, these really slick, like, super cool, cyber agents or whatever, and it's like that was a really neat contrast that wasn't really there for the
right. Yeah,
true. You forget about that. Like I forgot how like that was the coolest part. Like you had the operators where they could drop in stuff for you, and it's like, or get you out.
Right.
They just drop that.
Just like this is me like fanfic writing level, but like imagine if they had like a program and like their job was like to create new things to put into the Matrix, or like hackers where it's like, hey, we can like modify things to help the field operatives and stuff like that. You could have all these characters with different skill sets and make it cool and interesting, rather than just like, hey, we're just gonna repeat
And again, like the
slow-mo
angles
and all
and
that
the camera work was just so far beyond what people have seen before too, which is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Some of those like dodge this stuff, like
the helicopter sequence was just the coolest thing.
And even like when like the beginning where she's like got her hands here and the camera's like pointing through and stuff. It's like really cool camera work and
such a bizarre beginning, that first movie too. It was like such a like what the hell's going on?
Right.
So cool.
And that's I don't know if it's even possible these days, but like I would love for them to be innovative in a new way, because as you discover new more techniques, like it becomes harder and harder to be original. But they had so much time to think about it. I would hope that they would be able to come up with something that's like, hey, this hasn't been done before, and just make it as fresh or as original as the first one.
It'd be
interesting. The thing we didn't mention though is the Animatrix. There was like a whole bunch of short stories.
That was one of the first things that like took like a Western property, was like, hey, like because I mean the thing is like the Matrix did have like heavy roots in like Japanese culture too and stuff. So
I mean, it had actually a semi decent video game, wasn't it? Or was it the crappy one? There was a crappy one.
Yeah, there was a couple.
There was
on the other side.
Enter the Matrix.
Enter the Matrix was the crappy one. Passing was the one I actually brought up in my PlayStation 2 list.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
So, I mean, it had good spin-offs, good games. I mean, I remember Enter the Matrix was the one I had to sell at the freaking store at EB Games. I'm like, push this. We're going to sell a lot of copies of it. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Yeah. And it was a terrible game. And I'm like, oh, God, I hate this job.
That was the one where you couldn't play as Neo.
And this is, I'm not sure if this happened, if I'm like either imagining it or misremembering history or I did read it. I don't know. But how cool would it have been in the heyday of the MMO to have like a Matrix MMO, right?
Well, there was an attempt at one, but
did it ever come out though? Like I remember like vaguely talking. I forget if it actually ever came out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the movie like just lent itself to that.
Oh, it was huge. It was in my created wrestlers and the wrestling game I was playing with my friends. There was Neo and Agent Smith, and pretty good movesets for them too, almost like they were intended. It was interesting.
Yeah. But I would love to see like more stuff, like newer video games, like like stuff that some of these things like what Jim, you played, I think Quantum
Break.
Quantum Break, yeah.
Something like that. Like I think lends itself to like Control. That lends itself.
Control is a good one. Yeah, that's very much like the Matrix. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see what they're gonna do now. Matrix 4. Give you guys an update here. Looking to begin filming again in July. This is all recently updated, actually, as of last week. The cast has now been signed for an additional 8 weeks of filming. They have some of it filmed already, so this is going on. This is happening. We are getting this movie.
Well, I know that
we only have one
John Wick is pushed back
because of this.
Yeah, John Wick moved. Yeah, just as a courtesy of this, to help Keanu Reeves with this filming. Carrie-Anne Moss is coming back as Trinity. So we have Neil Patrick Harris in this movie. I'm trying to look at some.
He's going to replay his role in Starship Troopers.
Yeah. So it's just by one Wachowski. Just Lana Wachowski is directing the fourth one, not her sister Lily Wachowski. So it's been a long time.
The brothers when this movie.
They were the Wachowski brothers with the movies, and now they're the Wachowski sisters.
Oh, are they both? I remember the.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, they both.
Yeah, that's cool. Good for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, it's they're only ones doing this movie though, so it's kind of weird that the other one is not involved this time around. And she opted not to return for some reason. So maybe they're not conflicted on where the story went. I don't know. But
maybe one makes movies still and the other one doesn't. It's been a while.
I think that was what happened when I read the article about it, diving in deeper. One just doesn't want to do any films anymore because of the Matrix Fallout kind of thing.
Yeah. And like I even remember like the Fallout for that was like bad, but like and that was before social media was like really a thing. Like just a mad again, Game of Thrones from earlier in the podcast, like I don't think.
Look what's happening with The Last of Us.
Right, it's just like, oh god,
it's everywhere. So I mean, it's like hard to avoid spoilers, and the hate is just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, all right. I think that'll wrap up our episode of the Moviecast. You can, thanks for tuning in. You can write us podcast at allyoucangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allyoucangeek. Like us on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe and the like button as well. We appreciate it. More great topics coming your way. We got some lists to make. We got some more deep dives coming. Just thought we'd start off with The Matrix. Obviously, after Turtles. Sorry, after the Turtles anniversary. So thanks for tuning in. See you guys next week. We're out.